Nishijima, who is the potter that lives there in Kamioka. And we spend some time in the studio building tea bowls.
Wow.
Very nice. And I think probably Mario might have done that with his groups too. We're both close to Hideki. All of us to each other has been a good. Okay, well, Hiromi is actually working on me to do something in the next year. God willing, it could happen. Let you know.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, just so you know, Coeleen, I have you on live stream now.
Okay, good.
Oh, I don't know what I have on my screen anymore.
Just a little filler.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi,
I finally got the whiteout off my screen. That's how you erase stuff, right?
Okay, so
I guess I didn't read the instructions right.
So everyone, please mute yourself except for Coeleen and Skip for the time being. And Coeleen, go ahead. Yes, my answer to your earlier question is yes. If you want me to, I'll do that. But
yeah, good. Okay, great to see everybody today. This is the fourth of our Mark of the Self series, and it's been wonderful, just wonderful. So we're going to carry on with the dealing with the third tenet of the three that I think are so important. We've all worked at the mark of the self, which is the mark of the soul, and that doodle as it gets expanded. And then vocabulary as we start to write about what it is, what it is that you want to talk about with your art. And today is going to be about going through the stages that we go through when we're creating. But first, I want to ask Skip to share with you the subject of creating that he has had with a very special friend. And he sent me some information this morning, and I asked Skip if he would share some of that with you to begin today. If you would, please.
okay. Well, I'm not sure you want it, but here it is. So in 2011, I was introduced to a 15-year-old Palestinian girl who was very down. And Meltem Adikan, who is my playwright novelist friend from Turkey, had asked me to publish some of her work. She was 15 then. And so I did. Let's see, I need everybody to mute here. There we go. Except for me. Okay. So anyway, what happened was that over a period of 5 years, I published a bunch of her artwork. And in 2015, I ran a global art contest for my Archetype in Action website, which is called archetypeinaction.com, strangely. But anyway, for the 5th anniversary, I ran a global art contest. And I got only one entry, and it was from Lana Shaheen. So she won the prize, strangely enough. And so this was her entry. And so you can see here, she's a little Jungian has rubbed off on her. It was $1,000 art prize, global art contest, but I only got one entry, and it was from Lana. And so as you see, she's sort of caught the essence of Jungian psychology. I was blown away when I saw this. And so I gave her that. And if anybody wants to comment, you can unmute to comment. But I'll quickly go through this story. So then she went back to Gaza. Well, I got her to the United States 3 times since 2016. And after she was here the first time, she went home and she put together her own art show. And so that's what I'm going to show you now very quickly. And of course, this was in Gaza, and this is what she could do. So her show is called Faceless Humanity. And if you dream it, you can do it, according to Walt Disney. So this was her show, and here she is with her family opening the show. It was in an open air venue. And here's some of her work. And it gets quite interesting here. Just run through it quickly. And so here's her family. This is her mother in the black hijab and her father with the gray hair on the right. And these are all her sisters and so on. This is a friend of hers from Jordan that she stayed with. And then here's a certification of the prize that I did for her so that she could use it to apply for other events. And so you can see that. And then here's Lana with me in Washington in 2016. This was her first trip, and we posed in front of Albert Einstein. And during that trip, she was on a Coca-Cola scholarship that I helped her get at Indiana University School of Business. And so you can see she's quite stoked about that. And here she is at her show, The Faceless Humanity, with some friends. And if I'm going too fast, just tell me. And so these are a few of her things, and this is her. And so anyway, that was the art show, that art show. And
real manifestation of the process, Skip.
I beg your pardon?
It's a real manifestation of the creative process. You know, the statement's made.
Right.
And voila, off you go.
And so after her second trip, she got a sort of a graduate level fellowship. And so after her second trip, she had to go to Jordan, and she's never been able, after her second trip, after her graduate trip, she's never been able to go back to Palestine. So she knew that when she was coming to America the second time, she would never see her parents again, or at least not under current political situation. And so this is her with some of her fellow students in Qatar, where she took a master's degree in journalism. And this is another show that she did. And I'll just share a few of the images that she did. This one belongs to me now. I'll explain it to you after a bit. And it was also, she was selected by a Palestinian activist organization, Palestinian Vision Organization, to put her works in billboards in Jerusalem. So this is in Israel, but these are her pieces in the billboards. And here they are, also all Jerusalem. And let's see, and it also went on city buses in Jerusalem. And then this is the show in some place, I don't know where that was, but you can see.
But it's really taken off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And you can just get a sense of her work here. Okay, so then I'll skip out of that one for the time being. And so then, oh, wait a minute, I have to admit someone. Just a moment. Okay. Let's see what this is.
It's such an example of the process having a life of its own. You know.
Right. Okay. And so here's a second art show she had done before she left Palestine. This was in Gaza, and let's see. Okay, that must be it. Okay, are you seeing that? I hope so. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so this is her. I guess this is the same art show that you were seeing before, but this is the actual show in Gaza. This is how she has to show her art. And much of this art is currently in my possession because when she came out of Gaza the last time, she had to take this artwork off of the wood and wrap it around her belly and smuggle it out of Gaza. And she brought I guess it was 10 pieces with her when she came in 2019. And so these are the pieces that she had done. And
oh my goodness, to think that you would have to do that. You know, we take so much for granted.
yeah, and this piece here, and so they were all actually folded over and wrapped around her belly when she smuggled them out of Gaza so that she could bring them to the U.S. because she wanted to do a show while she was here for a reason I'll explain in a moment. But this is flowers that follow the sun do the same even when the skies are full of clouds. And this piece, you're going to see it entirely in a minute, but this piece is based about a story of Apollo and a sunflower that was in love with Apollo. And so she was stuck on the ground and he was flying over the sky. And so this piece is called War Will End When the Governor Will Make Peace, but the Mother of the Martyr will keep him waiting. And I now own this piece. And Debbie owns this piece. Okay, so you get the gist of that.
Thank you, Skip.
Well, one more thing, I have to give you the punchline now, since you've heard that whole story.
Yeah.
You have to have the punchline. So in 2019, I was able to get her, not only me, but others that participated, and including the woman that you had seen in Jordan, got her an internship for the summer of 2019 in the office of Ilhan Omar in the U.S. Congress. And so here's Lana on, I guess, the last day of that event. And here she is in the U.S. House.
Oh.
And here she's got the Mother of the Martyr and the sunflower.
Yeah.
So she gave this piece to me, and she gave this piece to Ilhan Omar. And so here's Representative Omar making her comments.
Minnesota. Yeah.
And Lana and me with the piece at the Congress. And then I brought Lana out to my place and took her out painting one day. And it was a beautiful sunny day, as you see, and this is what she painted. And I was frightened to death by this painting because it's so dark. And here we are in this beautiful en plein air scene, and this is the painting that she did. So I was terribly worried about her, and there have been some ups and downs, but she now has got her master's degree in journalism from this graduate school in Qatar, and she'd love to come back to the U.S. permanently, but that's another story entirely. So,
Skip, if I may, the dark piece at the end. I'm wondering, with the war zone background, if calm and beauty was actually a trauma to her baseline.
yeah, I don't
like a
I don't
surprise.
know, but what I do know is that while she was an intern in Ilhan Omar's office, she was fielding telephone calls as her job, part of her job, and she was very often getting death threats during that 7-week period.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, I think that's quite an example of the collective unconscious operating. You know, she was away from home for one thing. She was open.
right.
She's receiving telephone calls. That's the collective unconscious activating.
Sure.
And I think that that the idea that it has to do with what's going on in her homeland is really accurate, probably more so than what was going on with her personally, which is what we're going to talk about today.
Right.
So there is a difference. And it's a very beautiful story, Skip.
Oh, thank you. Okay, now somewhere here I have all the things that everyone sent to me, except in the last hour and a half, I've gotten most of them. So I have been scrambling to get them together for you. But I finally found a field expedient solution about how to do that. So
Okay.
I just have to find them on my desktop. I have too many things on my desktop at the moment. It's not that. Just a moment. Okay. Wait a minute. There's a couple of things here that are persistently want to stay up and in my way. So, all right, I think I've got it. Whoops, come on. Oh, come on, why isn't that?
I'm going to take a few minutes to look at your work, and then I'll explain about the stages of the creative process and why it matters. And then we'll have our own experience of doodle drawing together about that. So how's it coming, Skip?
I don't know. I'm not able to get a couple of things off my desktop.
Okay, well, while you're looking, let me get started with some ideas that I want to.
Yeah, go ahead, and I'll let you know when I've got it. It's
good. Okay. Well,
Skip, can you make me co-host? It's Lindsay Johnson.
Okay, Lindsay. Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you.
Just a minute.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Good idea. Where are you on the screen, however?
So I sent out the prep paper that I think most of you might have received. And I'm just going to go over that quickly because I want to commend all of you for having done what you've done, what you've engaged with to take on the idea of the doodle as being a mark of the self, just for starters, particularly when we have this mark of the self, mark of the soul awareness, and to go to such a simple place to begin with. But you did it and we did it. And that mark that you did at that time shows up no matter what you do. If you get a show at MoMA and you do 10 by 12 foot paintings, that mark is going to show. It's why we can tell the difference between a Picasso and a Georgia O'Keeffe. That mark is just always there.
So I've got it now.
But expanded and developed. So we can even look at that when we look at people's work, Skip. So let's see what you have.
Yeah, okay, so coming up now, it's here. And so the first one in this, in what I have is Kathleen Pools.
Ah, good, good.
Okay, and I think this is the one you intended to be first, right, Kathleen?
Yes.
Okay, so your turn to talk.
Can you hear
Yes, we can.
me? Okay. I think I'm going to turn this volume down.
Pick up on Coeleen's.
Okay.
Can you still hear me now, Skip?
It's better if you don't mute this microphone. Can you, do you have us,
I'll talk loud. Can you hear me now?
yeah. What, you have a second device going or something?
Yeah, she has her computer just a few feet away, but she's going to come over to my screen.
Okay,
There you
all
go.
right, that would be better.
Okay, so this piece was a piece that I did. I had the fortune of listening to David White's, he was taking us to Ireland. And I decided while I was listening to his poetry stream from him that I would revisit Ireland. I had been there about 2 years ago. And so I just started doodling and doodling and doodling. And can you hand me my sketch pad, please? Yeah, and I just started writing words that he would say. In the bottom left-hand corner is, every part of creation is knocking at your door. You uncover things not been said. It's the conversation of life.
Mhm.
So here it is with the stones in the back and just the peace, the deep, deep, deep green, the deep, deep peace of Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go to the next one.
This is very cool.
So this one was really fun. I had my notepad turned horizontally, and I was just, you noticed all the writing at the bottom. I just started taking notes and one-liners that moved me. And yeah. And so now what happened was when I stepped, okay, you're going in on it. Yeah, there's all the words. Yeah.
It's not really visible, so I'm going to go back. I just wanted to give a sense of it.
It doesn't matter to read it. We don't need to read it. But what happened was I was taking these notes and it just went from, wow, this is wisdom. And I have been doing in my collages and in my other work here at the studio, I've been doing a lot of, and myself strengthening, really descending my roots deeper and deeper and deeper. And so I thought, this is wisdom. So there's the cliff. Here's the creative process right in the middle. You know, here we are breaking up our structures really with truth and with perseverance and with the wisdom coming up from below out of nowhere. So that's my share.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's such a wonderful way to integrate the experience of listening to a poet, you know, and integrate the wisdom that comes from that experience by taking it in, the drawing at the same time. Yeah. So can I see another one?
Yeah.
Well,
Just a minute. Okay. All right. Next one is Jordan. And so this is the first part of Jordan Hoggard's presentation. So go ahead, Jordan.
If you could zoom in just a little bit to just frame out the imagery section, please. Thank you. What I did here is there felt to be something really coming up but that somehow I was some kind of a poetry collection I had years ago was called Prescient Remembrance, Dialogue of a Vampire who's looking for his lost love over a couple of centuries. And that prescient remembrance, almost like I'm intuitively foretelling something I already know, came up. And so I popped up the fourth quadrant where I'd black and whited out the first, second, and third quadrants. And 1, 2, 3, 4 across the top, I just started inserting my images here to revisit the track of how this squiggle Sanskrit J hook shape from my initials was there and not there. And when I got to the fourth one over in the top left, I dropped out into a sketchbook, and actually I just yanked off the coil because I didn't want ripped pages. I somehow wanted these pages individual, intact, and I started doing my various initials from age 14 to now. And then I'd set them up differently. And still it felt like I was kind of spinning the wheel. So there's this circle with a line and a squiggle to, okay, let's just reset. Let's get moving. And then I went back and realized I had put all the notes on the next, from last time you had, like they were a doodle on the next page of my newsprint pad. And all of a sudden, the prescient remembrance concept came back, and I looked, and the part I was really missing that I indicated last time was the reflection. And the architect in me, okay, project's done, move on. What's next? Sign another contract. Start again. That false sense of urgency just ate at me, and I just dumped it. So I went back to one of those two out of the sketchbook where I just pulled out the coil and went, the one on the left in the middle, with a new kind of scimitar or calligraphy J at the bottom, something's there. So I dumped it into Photoshop and made quadrants out of it and realized that all the other three I had done, but I had never seen the bottom one until quadrant 4 when they showed up in that purple, the 1, 2, 3, and the one hidden in the black. And I went, I just found my seed. This is the seed of my glyph. And all of a sudden, the idea of creating astro initials for people came up, where I divine and doodle. I can't do their mark of self. That's for them. But do an astro initial. So I'm like, oh, okay, AI. That's kind of. And then I went, no, gimmicky. But then immediately, I was in a shamanic psychology group session with a group that I often play with in Santa Fe. And I was just breathing. And I had my oil pastels out because I wanted them kind of warmed up in the air while I was doing that. And I didn't notice that I spun my sketchbook around upside down, picked up a red oil pastel and looked over and squiggle, 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 squiggle. And Skip, if you would zoom in on the bottom 2 images on the right, please. And I looked down and I didn't want to go, oh, right in the middle of everyone's meditation, because I realized I was the one on the hot seat. And so I wasn't muted. So there was just this wonderful big breath. And I looked down and I'm like, that's all 4 plus what's this new thing on the right? So afterwards, I spent the next 3 hours with various pens, and I even took a stick and try to rip up the end so I could make dip it in some paint and scrape it. And then finally I just took some markers and combination of brush and calligraphy. And I did the one on the bottom right corner, and I digitally embossed my astrology chart with transits as a background. And I placed that as the heart of the matter. So with the poem idea, what I want to say is astroglyph was born in the red oil pastel that then I outlined. But Skip, if you'll scroll to the next page,
just a second,
please, then I'm not going to say what I want to say. What I say is astro seal. Think signet ring crest pushed in wax on a charter. Think a wax seal stamp. think of a Japanese artist stamp in the bottom corner. And this then created, I had it on my website, then within 10 minutes as my logo on my new website, and went, oh, okay, that's cool. Well, I put Astro Initial. I still had it as a dummy product because I was going to do that. Well, it still had the little gray cartoon lipstick on my website. And it wasn't anything yet. And the price was there, but there was no even information. And one of my tarot clients all of a sudden placed an order for one. So I was like, oh boy, okay, this is me, Astro Seal. Okay, so I've got my new glyph. And so what's interesting, that's that there. And then this morning I was practicing. I started doing 30 minutes because here's the thing. Now I have to learn how to write my own glyph names. I'm like in preschool teaching other people how to spell.
It'll only work if you do it yourself.
Yeah, and exactly. So I can't just stare at this and, wish a lot. And this is now my new signature. And so I can actually write my name again, and it's moving around because I'll forget the stroke pattern, and it's like a martial arts form in a way. But I just started going slow to go. Yeah.
You have the seed. Yeah, you have the seed, and in the name of what we're doing today, I really want to point out how you went through the process, from the very beginning when you decided what you were going to do, and played around, explored, really, really played around, and went back to some old things, pulled some different things in. And I have to speak to that red in the middle image on the bottom, because so often when red comes in, we follow the red. It's the igniting, it's the fire color. And it was that was the one when you said all of a sudden. And when we hear all of a sudden, we know that elimination has happened, and then you're beautiful about you think that you're not very good at reflecting, I hear you say, but you do a beautiful job of reflecting in terms of going back in and looking at it and saying, well, what does work, what doesn't quite work yet, and play around with it, get it to where you want it to be again. And then voila, you come up with what you really want, that you can, if we go to the last image now, please. Well, I think we are looking, yeah, here we go. That is yours.
Right.
It's beautiful. It's a wonderful example of the process completing itself. And now you show it to us. And actually, you've shown it to others, and it's even starting to have a life of its own. And
that's an astute observation too, because what I realized here also, I love that you said, that I do that naturally, but the architectural editor in me was so embedded that I'm reflecting all the time, because if the dimensions don't work, I go to court. And I don't do that anymore. Yeah. And I haven't done that since 2014. And what happened is I was able through this distance to realize, oh, my editor, my reflection occurs in every space between every motion all the time, except with this, I paused and focused on the space between to allow the reflection to be my focus instead of what I was creating. And it reversed, it became kind of undyslexic, or as I say, lysdexia, to flip the syllables, my process, so that I was able to honor the fact that I do reflect, except I do it at speed.
And you get a lot out of it.
But I got more out of it quicker.
Excuse me, Jordan. I'm sorry. And I'm concerned about time and other people. Yeah. But I think beginning to understand where we are in our process, that the process has got very definite stages that we go through, and we say phases also, because we go back and forth. But sometimes we think, oh, it's not working, or I've fallen out of a state of grace, I'm out of it, it's not working. Yeah. Actually, it's always taking place. It's just where we are in the process. So I
Thank
thank
you.
you for that. Thanks a lot, Jordan.
Definitely. I appreciate the process.
Yeah, Jordan has a poem here too. Guess I can just share.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Let me just stop the share for a minute. I just need to check something. Okay. What I want to do is give you the full screen of the poem.
Oh, okay.
And so here, this should be better than what it was on the other thing.
So as everyone knows, my dad died February 23rd, and it's been periodic joys and beauties with rivulets of sadness, but the grief has been more precious memories. And this morning, after I was practicing my glyph, this just dropped out. Like another little dam just opened up, and it was a present. And it's called the coming flood. In my first signs of spring, the purple-tipped crocus noses poke up, the crepe myrtle to come, my grandmother's favorite, the Texas bonsai of the mesquite trees, a dad fave, deadly when you do not respect the intensity of thorn beauty. Mimosa fir chalk clumps and pollen powders my hair along my climb into the boughs, into the canopy to nestle, as I emperor survey the lands of our backyard. My dad stands there beaming, smiling bright, present and alive. I know if I fall, he will catch me, put me back up to try again from there. Before we go in, he asked, Jordy, give it a go from ground to canopy? Yes. In a single go, I go start to finish and, hey, Dad, catch, as I just jump at him out of the tree. He taught me to learn to start and finish, from start to finish. Always complete, never finished. It's spring. Hey, Dad, enjoy the warm flows of your new home in my heart. I love you, Dad. Thank you. Thank you. Me. Thank you, guys.
Welcome.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jordan.
So actually, I couldn't get that off my screen until I showed it. But
He tends to stick around a while.
yeah. Okay. Now I have to figure out where my. Let's see. I have to figure out where my the other thing went. Okay, so that's this. I'm gonna stop that for a second. Somehow it's hanging me up. I want to get back to where I was, but okay, here we go. Now I can see it maybe. Sorry. All right, so here we are. And the next one is, and I forgot who sent this to me.
I did, Jerome.
Oh, Jerome, yes, okay. Jerome, so go ahead.
Okay, this was the first doodle. And so I call it, I gave it a title. It's called What's Up? And so you can see the coloring. It's kind of blue at the bottom, and it's kind of at the top, it's kind of orange. And so in looking at that and the colors, if you'll go to the next slide, Skip.
Mm-hmm.
What I did was map this to what I thought were Myers-Briggs types, because I've been a Myers-Briggs instructor for many years. And so I said, well, what can I do with this? And so the top left quadrant is, I thought this was like people with thinking caps on. And they were kind of stacked up. And it was kind of a male looking figure, I would think. It also reminded me of maybe chakras and so forth. but it's kind of like thinking, like, what is it, you know? And then the second quadrant, the right, upper right, that kind of had a feminine type of energy, or what I'd call a yin type, or a female type, because the green in the figure, the green is the heart chakra. So I was thinking, and feeling is what value is this? And so that's the kind of thing in Myers-Briggs domains as to what that would be. And then in the bottom left corner, this is more of like, it's a white whale or a fish, it looks like. And it looked like up above there was probably some sort of a ship or battleship or something up above the fish's head. And I said, well, that's kind of sensing. So that would be always on alert. So that's the sensing domain. And then I got to the fourth quadrant, and I have this reclining figure, and it seems to be looking out at the window and the fish. And I said, that's got to be intuition, because that's kind of the hunch type thing. And if you know anything about Myers-Briggs, our perception functions are the sensing and intuition and the play between those. And and this would be non-rational functions. Your rational functions are on top, which is thinking and feeling. People confuse a lot of times emotions with the feeling in Myers-Briggs. Everybody has emotions and can be emotional. It's just that when you judge something, it's based on what value you place to it, where the thinking domain is more or less non-value oriented. It's more logical and precise and so forth. So I took a look at this, and then I've also been working on taking Sherry Lovela's poems and doing a piece of artwork. And I think I showed that once before. So Skip, if you'll go down to the...
Yeah, I think I only have those two. This isn't you, right?
No, I sent 3 and 4.
Oh, okay, I didn't get those. So
Let me...
Are you in a situation where you could hold them up for us to see, Jerome?
well, I can show you, if Skip will let me share my screen.
yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Just a second.
Okay.
Just go ahead now, try it.
Okay, hold on a minute. Let's see. Okay, let me get this one here.
Yeah.
Did you get anything? No?
Yeah,
Still,
it's there.
Oh,
is it there?
Yeah.
It's not on mine. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Let me get back to here where I want to go. Okay, this one here. Can you see that? It's called
Yes.
Holding Space.
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, so you'll notice that the whale figure, or the white fish, and the reclining figure, I used that because when I read Sherry's poem, I said, well, this kind of just fits in that. So this is kind of reflecting and taking the images and so forth. I read the poem and I said, well, that fits. I thought Sherry's poem, I'll read Sherry's poem. It's called Holding Space. And it's called, Eye to eye, I see you wrapped in your blanket, hiding, finding comfort in the care of others. A story and another, unwrap the pain, hidden in layers, peeling away until your core, restless and old, beams forth, and the single moment of truth arrives unhurried and welcomed. So,
Yeah.
and I also, it's kind of a pastel arrangement, because Coeleen, thank you for suggesting pastel. So did that. So what came of that was the the kind of the intuition and sensing domain and how it leads back to in the background and so forth and to the love. So anyway.
You're going to show us the other one too?
Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can find
It's wonderful the way you're using the imagery and the Myers-Briggs together. What's happening here?
can you see that?
Yeah, the voting party.
Right, luncheon of the voting. Okay.
A voting party?
Yeah. Well, Coeleen had asked us to practice the great masters or something. And a long time ago, back in 1991, I loved the luncheon of the voting party by Renoir. And so I got a piece of drywall, which was, hold on a minute, I'm getting the acrylic on drywall, and I painted it. And because I just love the painting. It's not the same size. The original is over on the right here. And it's 51 by 68 inches. It's a huge painting, and it's at the Phillips Gallery, if you've ever seen it, in Washington, D.C., DuPont Circle. And I had never seen this painting until I worked in Washington a couple of years ago. And when I went in to see the painting, I just was in tears. I just said, it has that essence still there, even though it's been cleaned several times. Mm-hmm. And then I went back and I said, okay, I need to work on my painting skills. You know? But the interesting thing about this, Coeleen, is you had mentioned that doing things with your non-dominant hand. Mm-hmm. And when Renoir painted this, he had broken his right hand, and he painted this mostly with his left non-dominant hand. And it took him 2 years or more to paint this because it's a huge painting. And what I like about it is that his impressionistic style was migrating up to a more realistic figurative style. And it's a combination of both styles. Yeah. And I kind of see my mark as being the same thing. It's kind of impressionistic, and it moves into a figurative style. So anyway, so thank you, Coeleen.
Jerome, may I make a suggestion?
Yes.
That's what I'm here for. I'm wondering which character at the voting party is the thinking type?
The thinking type would be the guy with the top hat in the back, because he was the sales guy for Renoir. So that was his agent. So.
And who would be the feeling type?
The feeling type would probably be his girlfriend is over on the right with the Karen Terrier holding it up.
Oh, yes. Okay.
On the left.
On the left, excuse me. Yeah. I'm looking backward. Yeah, the left. So that's his girlfriend that he married. And so all these characters were his known personally. And what he did was he wanted to bring in group and show the collective and how people get together and integrate. And that's what he wanted to, that's the other portion of painting, is to get the relational and relationship going at the same time. And I tend to paint.
The intuitive, or was it the perceptive that you had in your drawing?
I'm sorry, say again.
Did you have the intuitive also and the perceptive in your drawing?
Yeah. The probably the characters. There's an actress on the top top right hand corner is an actress. Uh-huh. And she's talking to, and the guy on the other side is, I guess they're talking to the actress and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of that relationship. Intuitively, though, I would say that to me, the lady in the center, right here, can you see my mouse or not?
Yes.
Oh. This lady here in the center is probably the intuitive type, and she also reminds me of my mother.
Oh.
So she looked the same way. So that's also when I painted it, I got that sense of being her.
So in terms of active imagination or progressing this, you could do a painting of each of them the way you did the Myers-Briggs symbolically.
Oh, cool. Yeah, great. Yeah.
That would be a way of taking it further for yourself personally at the same time that your work, it's wonderful exercise to work with both the right brain and the left brain at the same time.
Yeah.
Work with objective and the non-objective at the same time. You're doing it really well, but it's making so much sense to you, I can tell. I'd really encourage you to keep going with what those issues look like.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
you have to disable your
Okay, let me find it.
share.
I gotta stop share. Okay, there we
All
go.
right. Okay, let me see if I can get back to the other. Okay. Okay, so this is Louise Wallach's painting, and let me get it up here. Louise, are you here?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Well, where to begin here?
Where did you begin?
God knows. I did kind of the watercolor ground and gaze and looked at it and turned it as I did before. And this is what I came up with. And I kind of call it the potentiality for transformation. That's what I call it, the potentiality for transformation. And what I see here are 3 separate figures and a reptile. So there's 2 men off to my right, a red-headed man and a green-headed man. The center figure, which is kind of enclosed, and on the right there is a reptile figure. That's what I see came up. So I can talk about them separately because I took a long time and conversed with these figures and what they were trying to say to me. So in the center figure, I have the central figure that I call this a container for the potentiality. And what potentialities I'm talking about is for transformation. And the reason I say it's that way, it's because that there's a wholeness about this central figure, a wholeness that is defined and outlined. So there's a strong figure there, and it's the potential in this figure for being whole, and at the same time holding conflicting ideas, all at the same time. And I can explain that further. And also in this central figure, there's the potential. Excuse me. There's a potential for tolerance in the face of ambiguity. And I think these are my issues, how tolerant can I be with ambiguous, and where do I stand in the squishy parts of those kinds of ideas? And I also noticed when I came to these things that there were golden nuggets all inside of this figure and a few of them outside, but there were golden nuggets. So that felt like there were some gifts in this potential figure in the center here too.
Yes.
And so further in the center is a face with a kind of a tubular body, kind of looks like the stomach parts, but I just don't know. But there's that face, that figure. And this figure in my, the way I drew it, the way it came forth was on the heart side of the central figure. It's on the heart side. So that person is close in the heart, and that figure, meaning figure, is being open and supportive and holding ideas closely in the heart. So there's 2 things going on: public and a hiding, holding place in that figure in the center. And then lower down are these 2 little dark things down there, which to me were like wolf-like, some sort of wolf-like little creatures. And I called them doubt and uncertainty, because that's what they came to me for, doubt and uncertainty. So that's the central figure. And then I have two figures on my right side, a redheaded person and a green person. And I felt that they had to play their part in this visual here, and their voice, their place is to stand back and voice beliefs, disbeliefs, judgments, opinions, and they stand there ready to sow mistrust and doubt. Also, they may protect against being resistant and being insistent and help in transformation. So they're they've got a positive and negative role there, at least that I could see. It wasn't all negative with the redheaded crazy man with his arms raised, it had something more there. And then way off to my left side is a green snake-like figure. And that really threw me for a loop because, little as I know about Christian, the Bible and everything, the snake has just been an anathema to, don't get near the snake. It's dangerous. It's, it's fraught and it's devious and everything like that. Well, I did a little research because I just didn't want to believe that this snake was just occupying my world in a negative way. And I did find that the snake is a very powerful figure of psychological transformation. At least that's the things that I read. You know more, Coeleen, so I'll love to hear what you say about that. And just further, what I found was that snakes are figures, worms were figures, and I realized when I was looking at this could be a big old worm because worms are a feminine symbol. It's very feminine, and it's also an alchemical transformation. And I know that personally because I have a worm bin, a 20-year-old worm bin where I have all these worms in my special bin there that I've been feeding all my leftover scrapings and peelings and everything. And they've transformed that junk into nutrients for my soil, very rich and very wonderful. And so, I like to think of it as there's an alchemical transformation that's the positive way that I might look at this. But that snake kind of threw me for a loop, but that's where I'm at with this piece of work. That's what I have to say. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it.
Well, the snake, but I think you referred to it as something even more than a snake, like
a reptile, maybe.
Yeah. Jung has pointed out that Americans are completely out of touch with their animal nature.
Yeah.
Therefore, the animal nature comes out in a very unconscious way, which is what we're seeing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is really quite wonderful to be in a painting about transformation.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so, and your little doubt and uncertainty, also, they're the kind of niggling animals that have us biting our nails and waking us up in the middle of the night. And so these are very important characters. And I would imagine that there's an aspect of your masculine that's saying, oh, no, we can't do that. But the place that I would suggest you go is to bring these animals forth so that they're up front.
Yeah. There's your Lilith, Coeleen.
Absolutely.
Lilith. Tell me more. The Lilith.
I would say, can I share? I would.
Oh, yes, please do.
Yeah. I believe that she has in some way brought the animals up front by making the snake important. The snake is taking the entire side where the two little wolves are still in there. So snake represents knowledge and the wolves represent instinct, which somehow is still trapped inside the uncertainty of this exploration. And it's very interesting how the snake is completely green and completely to the opposite is the man with the red face. These green and red are opposite colors. And the whole painting has green and red, opposites trying to come to terms into a way where the big figure can carry it. So it brought some things out and it kept some things still in, trying to process. So that's my experience with
That's great. Thank you for saying that.
And Lilith is the one that brings the wisdom
Yep.
to the garden. She turns herself into a snake so that she can get into the garden. And then she, offers the apple. Just take a bite, and you'll become conscious.
Right.
So, Lilith as a snake plays a very important role, and here you have your feminine and your snake right together. I mean, they're
Leaning on each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a snake here too.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where I was seeing Lilith, there in the center.
Ah,
Yeah, I
If
think
I,
that's something.
It's almost like our intestines, which are snaky like,
yes.
and they
Yes.
feed us. So the intestines are there in the umbilical cord, feeding the something, trying to, all the senses trying to create something out of the paradox of oppositional disorder, oppositional, the whole thing she's got going on with opposition. It's clearly opposition. Green and red are opposite colors.
if I may, in short, you said the two wolves at the bottom, and then I smiled because I'd seen the gray charcoal wolf with the ears up from the back on the right, but I saw the blue-green wings of a bird on the left instead of a wolf. And crows and jays often fly ahead and taunt rabbits out of hiding, and the wolves get them. And then the jays get the leftovers of the crows. So you have an animal community working together very centrally, lower down in the towards, that's kind of come up out of the underworld. That I really appreciated that, because of the teaming up of the animals to live together.
And I on the lower left, in our way of looking at it, I found that very interesting. It's almost like a centipede or an ant or something, that dark crawling underneath, trying to make its way, and it's separate from the entire thing. It looks like an insect.
Okay, so I think we have Gilda's work, but before that, Lindsay, I think Lindsay has the power there. I don't have her work, but you have the power, Lindsay, to share your work.
Oh, I don't have anything to share today.
Oh, you don't? Okay. You just wanted the power.
No, I wanted to spotlight Coeleen because she said that was very helpful to her last time.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah, that's important. And how did I miss that? Okay. All right, I'm gonna also do that. Except now there you are. Okay.
do we have a painting by Gilda?
Yes, we have actually 16. So I will just a minute. I want to get back to where I was. Didn't know what I was doing here.
I'll
Okay.
explain that there's only 2 paintings I did. The
Right.
first day, the doodle, I only doodled. I didn't do anything else but doodle. And and unfortunately I missed one class because I thought it was the next day and so on. And so then I doodled
Okay. So
while
here,
in the following class while I was listening. So all these are basically doodles. And then I took a picture with my iPhone, and I'm able to then amplify it and look for all kinds of things instead of folding my paper, which I like to keep it straight. And I only have like an 11 by, 16 sheet. That's what I had. So that's what I use. And it's endless what I have found. So I share some of it, and I wrote poems to
Yeah. Do you, Gilda, do you want to show the whole thing or each individual?
Well, you can
piece?
say, right, I'll just tell you what it is, and then this is from the second one. And what I did find is that the instincts, basically I work with dreams every day, and I am clear up my unconscious in order to make my eventual journey and transcendence when I do pass. And as one learns about death, one exceeds expectations while living. So so whatever is going on right now, which is what I love this class with Coeleen, it's totally Jungian. It just brings it out, and then you can clearly see the issues. Now I may see them writing them up, a dream, but here they are displayed in without me knowing. So here is an animal, see to the right, the animal speaking to the one on the right. The eye would be the red, and so there's a face right there with a neck on the left, and the animal on the right speaking. So go to the next, and I'll give you the
red arc.
here you see this is really fabulous. It's like a young child speaking to a dog. It is completely comes out of the darkness. See right here, the child on the right, and the dog leaping up in the left. Can you see that?
Yes, yes.
Yes, and this is completely out of nothing. No, to create that rationally is practically impossible.
That's right.
And it's impossible. I really love your class. So keep moving. Keep moving. And I'll show you. The discoveries just are unending. Here, it's my the light being to the left, and the other being to the right, the red big head, the thinking rational on for bottom, trying to have a conversation, say, who are you? You know, trying to have an understanding. And the light figure is of course the white. You see it there, don't you?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay, keep going. And then that's individuation for you. And I noticed that one of the marks, but I found lots of birds like Jung, but I didn't put them all. And I found kind of like tree shapes or a funnel with something on top. This was just all over the place. I just gave you a few. Here's one. You see right here, and then on top, and then there's a gold in the center. So there's that funnel, almost maybe the kundalini, and then on top there's something else, and it splits into a duality at the bottom right here.
Yes.
Like the legs, see? And then there's red, there's activity going in the darkness, but there's definitely the gold in the center, something that eventually is what forms, what transcends the visceral human body. Keep going. And I'll read you. Yeah, I'll read you the things afterwards. So here's another one. I also found that I'm trying in my life. I try to tell truth to people, but who wants to listen to truth? Almost nobody. So I did run into a lot of problems. And here it is, the being has the truth that comes out as sound and language. And it's right in the center, see? The gold is there. It's looking up, trying to get it from the divine, from source, but we carry it inside. So you see the mouth and the two eyes, and then the hand, the black is like the hand on top of the forehead. Oh, right. Can you see that? Yeah. Exactly. Keep going.
Oh,
yeah.
This is so true.
Yes. And then here, see, I gave you two birds. Here is the bird. You see the black bird behind the two profile faces here, looking to the left. There's two faces, and the one below has the mouth covered with the red, with the yellow. You see the bold person with the mouth covered, and then the female. It looks like a female, but it's hard to say. Over here, and then the black bird right behind, the big black bird coming. Can you?
again. The
Yes,
dot,
can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, next one, or I'm imagining. Next one. Well, that was one of the actual totality of one of the paintings,
Yeah.
right? That's the totality of it, out of which I took those images. But that was so by clicking it with the phone, you can amplify it, which is much easier to see than if I fold it in quadrants and try to look, because it's like the unconscious. You're taking a loop and looking. And with technology, I find it absolutely fascinating, because I do photography, paintings, not my, and it's all there. I've always found nature and this kind of things. I would wonder, why aren't painters here? It's all the abstraction is everywhere.
Mhm.
So that's what I have to offer about that, and I can read you some poems if you like.
Okay. Do we finish?
Well, this is the first one, so I can read you poems about those other ones. But if you want to continue, I will continue.
Oh, well, okay. So did I get them out of order?
No, that's fine. Stop there, and then I'll read you the poems about the similar that has to do with those.
Yeah. Okay. Go
Is
ahead.
that cool?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if I can find them. Okay. So, language. I wrote one about language. Oh, yeah. There's one I didn't show you about language, but it's going to come up in the other one. It's the way language manifests out of the void, like a mark, similar to Jordan is trying to do that. His mark and all his seal and so on is language coming out of nowhere, which creates lacing and then starts creating a mark that we recognize. So this is called language. From the dark hole, I saw a light swing. Hither and thither drew, reading lines, echoes swirl in confusion, speaking, not listening, falls out back to the unknown black. So so language to me is about speaking, listening, writing, and reading. So this kind of puts, and then individuation. I call.
I'm going to insert a poem of Robert Swords that I was going to read today because it fits so well here.
Okay.
All for a day. This is from Robert's latest book. All for a day. All day I have written words. My subject has been that, words. And I am wrong. And the words I burn 3 pages of them, words. And the moonlight, that too I burn. A pun remains. But in the words, in the fire that is now words, I eat the words that remain and am eaten by nothing, by all that I have not made.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Yes.
You go on, Gilda.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me go back to it now.
So that's what I was trying to write. So I wrote one on individuation. So I'll read the individuation poem.
Does it have an image with it or not?
Well, understand they all come out of 3 images I sent you. So let me see what let's see where this one comes from.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So there was this one.
Okay, because my being works with dreams, and all of these images have to do with what's hidden and what's undoing. The word, the lacing, which I will show you later, where language, I take language and I put it in the toilet and flush it out and brings it. So it has to, this is called individuation. Lo and behold, irritant scratching, puncturing, slicing, clean, yet unforeseen. The lit match burns, chilling, offer to gleam, structuring, willing. Okay. So,
Wow.
right. So, yeah, and with that one, I wrote, because it's all forming and unforming at the same time, I wrote this small one called No Holds Barred. Denial is not just a river in Egypt. Not to be is being in action. Many answers rush, flooding through you. Questions are dropped, loving you. So that's that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay,
see
so
what I
now
see.
now you can show me the other ones, and then I will
Okay, now somehow I got two on the same page.
yeah, this one that you're showing, that works. Yeah, this was the very first one that I used Coeleen's process on now beckons to me, and I started seeing all sorts of things. So I called it the pink balloon. So this is the pink balloon, the entirety of the pink balloon. And it shows a being trying to pierce in. And it's a story of partly of my life, trying to access the collective. And then that was the first one. This was the second one here.
This one here?
Yeah, the one following.
Mm-hmm.
Following, can you follow? Yeah, you see the face to the right with the big eyes?
Yeah.
Right,
Oh,
so in
the
all of,
yellow?
in all of them you see faces in the mouth and the fifth chakra of trying to communicate with words and sound. And you will find a lot of these shooting out and things, but here it is. Okay, so see, this is one aspect of it. You see a little fetus there with a head, like a cosmic head. You see it there in the center in blue?
Yep.
And it looks like it's holding a machine gun, to my surprise. Okay, so that's a little fetus, and that one I called Infant Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote the poem Infant Warrior. Infant warrior, stand on your head, eyes triune at your feet. The turtle out of water orients to the moon, swimming, diving soon, fresh clarity attunes. Right eye startled, cosmic left reflect, crowned with open lid streams forth and back and forth, transiting station. Point to the nose, assertion. Blowout, background, turn around the six, heart gun aperture, half quartered illumined, defense right to bloom, true blue. Last but not least, pick up another twist, northeast boots, step singing, kicking, dynamic purple, seize, siege, slump over the hurdle, noodling squares, idle, to be known. Right. So that also goes with another part of the
Wait a minute. Let's not leave so quickly.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that one goes with inspired by that, but it also brings in part of other quadrants. So
Yes.
that machine gun, when you turn it over, and I will show it to you in another picture, when you put it upside down, it's a turtle. So that's part of the inspiration of the poem. Not only is this an infant warrior, but when you turn it upside down, it's a turtle swimming into a big pool of a container of blue water.
I want to point out before we leave this, though, how you've accessed the collective unconscious.
Yes, absolutely.
Here,
Yeah.
that this is probably not even about you, And as Jung says, the less of you there is in there, the better. That in this case, you're just, as you said earlier, you could not have sat down and decided to paint. This is so far ahead.
Yes.
So far ahead of you. And I really admire that you went in after the image. And this is what we mean by going into participation, into the mystique, without an idea about what ought to happen, letting the collective unconscious speak, and then coming out with something. Basically your poem.
Yes.
That's a complete process.
It speaks loudly if you're listening. And it just, the more you pay attention to it, the more it pays attention to you.
Yes, that's so true, because it'll say, oh, we got her. We got Gilda.
Yeah.
To her brush.
Yeah. So this following image, you can see the little infant there, but it's part of a collective. It's part of the face. It's a part of the eye that's trying to see outside of itself, and so on. So that you can see a face here, right?
On this one?
Two big eyes. Look, we move down to the next one. Yeah, below the infant. I don't know.
Which one do you want to be looking at, Gilda?
Wait.
I'm sorry.
I'm looking. I think I'm looking at my own screen and not what you're putting there.
This is the one with the yellow hand over the mouth.
Yeah. So then there's this whole thing.
I can't see you. I have to find you now.
There's a mandala.
Oh, there you are. Okay. No, move away. Keep. That's.
Okay.
We went to the other. Yeah. Here. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. Oh, the infant is right there. That one. Yeah. You saw that, right?
Right.
Right. And then keep going.
Okay.
That's the face I was talking about. See, the infant is right there. It's one of the two big eyes. See, that's the infant right there that I singled out.
With the yellow mouth.
Yeah, with a little, they see the two big eyes? Exactly. See the face now? The face is there to two bulging eyes and a mouth that's trying to figure out what's coming out. And so it's almost like the structure, the unconscious is trying to structure to be able to communicate in a human way. And it's, so when you go deeper and deeper into it, then you can select, like Coeleen has so gracefully share with us, you just mine it. It is really endless. And so my speaking, which has been curtailed because I wasn't heard, and who wants to hear truth anyway, it's still trying to structure in some ways, which can come out.
Yeah.
You know, and benefit us.
Something that the infant knows.
Oh, yes.
When the infant is born, it's in a state of numinosum.
Exactly. And it's a warrior, so it's carrying that machine gun. It's going to do it's right, and it's cosmic because he's got that big. It's almost like an astronaut halo around his head, and a half a moon, the beginning of a moon. You know, the moon is beginning. It's growth. This orange piece. So it's really a gold mine, I have to say. I was just wow.
Yeah.
So I've modeled for art schools for over 12 years in the best art schools in the world here in New York City. Here, let me show you this one here. So when you turn it upside down, you see this is like a tree, and this is like a turtle swimming trying to swim into the big pool.
Okay, I'm not seeing an easy way for me to flip this over.
No, it's already flipped. It's already
Okay.
flipped. This is the infant flipped.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the head of the infant. Now I flipped it, right? And then
Right.
I blew it out, and you can see the turtle. Instead of a machine gun, it is a turtle.
So the black is the turtle.
Exactly. The machine gun that the infant had is a turtle here. When you flip it,
Mm-hmm.
you see it there? And it's coming into this pool of looking for swimming in the pool of blue water. And it's also a tree. A tree, see the stem on the bottom and a tree?
Yeah.
Right. So that's how the poem mentioned that. That's how I came to the turtle, because when I flipped it, it was a turtle looking for a lovely pool of blue water.
Hmm.
So yeah, you don't need to flip it. I did it all so you could see it.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right.
So much.
Yeah, and these two are the first one. That's from the second. From the second exercise. You see, the star is the body of the person, and it's got a big head with a mouth that's speaking out the gray. You see the gray? The gray is the speech coming out, blah, 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 right? And the big mouth right here. But the body is a star. It's a star, and it's trying to communicate something that there's too heady up here. The head is bigger than the body. So
It's the yellow. It's the yellow again that's locked down.
okay, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good observation. Thank you. The yellow. So if you keep going down, I'll show you the next thing, which is how I keep going, and I'll show you something else. Can you down? This one right here. Right, this one at the bottom right here. Yeah, so here you see the green, the gray right here, and there's a toilet there. The bottom is blue and your top is up, and there's blue stuff going in, and that gray what's the stuff coming out of the mouth of the other one. You got to process it in the toilet, throw out the crap, and reprocess it. And see what can come out. But it's a constant lacing of language, and that needs to be flushed, you know. You can see the toilet, right?
Yes.
Sure. And the gray is so if they were put side by side, I couldn't do that. You could see that, okay, let's take what's coming out and dump it in the toilet, flush it, and see what the blue, what comes out of all of that.
I think we have to move on.
So that was my share.
Just beautiful.
I'm glad you enjoyed.
And I like them as paintings too.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's 4:30 or 5:30 here. We still have a half an hour, but I just want to point out our process, or my process, because engaging with the creative process. Let me get myself back on the screen here so that can you pin me? Am I on screen?
Yes, we can hear you. We can see you.
Okay, so I just want to point out how we've been experiencing the creative process here. Because
and it would be good if everyone would mute except for Coeleen.
So I just want to point out that I had a whole presentation here. I'm going to change my camera to this. And I'm going to talk about the creative drive. Maybe I still will, but this was the plan. And then I was going to say a little bit about Freud and what happened with Freud when Jung came along, and then what's happening with us because of what Jung has done, and then our understanding of going into the collective unconscious. But I had to let that go because of what was happening instead with all of you being so transparent about your work and realizing that what was coming up, just like in the paintings that are people are doing, saying, I could have never done it that well if I had tried. But what comes up out of the unconscious, or what comes up out of the collective, is what is so needed that it surpasses the plans that we had. You know, is it, what did Lenin say? You know, plans are what you give up while life is happening, something like that. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. Exactly what has just happened here today, for me personally. So,
well, this image that you have here, Coeleen, is also the outline of what was put at the bottom of today's announcement.
that's right.
Yeah, it's that. I copied that onto the bottom of today's Wisdom Path announcement, with everything except the image, which I couldn't pick up.
So, well, that I just wanted to stop here and say, point out what's happening, because it's all about our becoming conscious about how to engage with the creative process and how to ride it out when it's revealing itself to us at the time. So first, let me see, Skip, how many more paintings do we have that we can look at that people have sent?
I have at least one more, maybe two. I have Lisa Del Rosario's work here.
Okay, well, we'll definitely look at those. I thought that we would look at people's paintings for about 20 minutes, and then we would go on with what I had to say. So here we are with a really very rich session, because all of you have been offering yourselves up like this. And I'm going to mention another, well, I'm going to wait. I wanted to read one of Sherry's poems. I'll do that. All right, actually, I'm going to ask Sherry to read it, if you would, and then we'll look at those other paintings. This is in his book, On Soccer Ground, gifted to me at Christmas time from Skip.
Ready for me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's called Deeper. Come home to your soul. This temporary world will only lead you to the edge. Nothing will get you past this one. Your desire to know that place deep within. The ground is not here to walk on. It is a thin layer to cross. Slip through into the underworld, the belly, the place you long to be, where wisdom dwells. Go naked.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's just what we're doing. Thank you.
All of Sherry's poetry with her work is just remarkable in that book. I don't know how many of those books I gave out, but
Yeah, a lot.
but quite a few, and I still have to find time to order another one because I don't have one for myself anymore. But anyway,
would you show us?
Yes. Okay. Let's see. I was fiddling with two things that. Two things that Lisa sent me, and unfortunately, I don't think I can show both of them, but I can show this, which is her copy of Van Gogh, and or actually, I might have it. Lisa, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right. So is this your doodle? Let's see. Is that your doodle?
It is.
Okay. So, all right. So I have them both, so we can do them both. All right, so go ahead, Lisa.
So when you, when Coeleen was
Mm.
playing the music last week, or whenever it was, she was playing Chopin, and my dad used to play Chopin, and I was quite moved by it because he played so beautifully. And yeah, I don't even know where. I think I had written on, I had emailed you. Oh, it's right there. Be mindful to not get hooked into the chaos. So I don't know if you could see my
Yeah, it says
mouse.
this
Yeah.
is
Now I can, yes.
this is invitation to
Let's
look.
And yeah, if you would start again with what you were going to read, please, Lisa.
I'm reading down at the corner. It says, be mindful to not get hooked into the chaos. So I think this was the line, the first line that we had to draw. And then this up on top was kind of like raising the vibration to a higher level. And down below here is, I was feeling the sadness from my dad's passing. He died when he was 53. He was young, but I'm trying to make sense of it all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is the drawing that you did in the first class.
No, this was the when you played Chopin at the
last time.
yes, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And then I noticed down here there's like 3 little lily pads, and every time I see 3, I think of the Trinity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you kind of rise up above to higher consciousness, and that's where my mind went with this. It was, I wasn't thinking, it was just happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, let me move on to the second one, which is quite different. So this is Lisa's copy of A Great Master here, and she does these amazingly. This is
another one. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I just finished that while at the beginning of this lecture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was playing with pastels. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, they are amazing. She sent me another one earlier, but I can't get back to it at this moment. But this is quite remarkable too. You have quite a knack for this, Lisa.
You know, I understand where it's coming from. I looked at Van Gogh's chart, astrological chart, his natal chart, and alongside mine, and I understand the connection.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel. No. My dog's barking. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I could feel the energy. Like this work, it doesn't feel good to me, but it's not what I'm feeling. I think he wasn't feeling good because he just chopped off his ear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, I think I'm channeling his energy.
Well then, keep going and find one that might be a little more healing.
Yeah, might be better.
night and the sunflowers, and because you do really seem to have picked up on his mark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
And I think that you're saying that you understand him because of that is really valid. I had suggested, I think in the last class, that if there's somebody that you want to understand, copy their mark. Copy their mark, and that's exactly what you've done. It's quite an example of it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Makes sense to me. Yeah.
So the only thing I would ask is that the next time we do this, everybody get me material
Yes.
days before, like a week before or something, because I had about 5 different sets of pictures come in 5 minutes before this was supposed to start, and I was trying to slam it into a form I could show people, and it's very difficult.
Yeah.
But I found a trick, a field expedient, but still.
I'd like to read another poem from Robert. And what is there somebody else's work to show? I don't
have anything more.
I have something.
Oh, amazing. All right.
I sent you an email, Skip, but I think my email didn't get to you.
Oh, maybe not.
That was early this morning, but anyway.
Can you show us?
Well, I have to have a little more screen, I think, for people to see what I've got here.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, now on the upper side there are 2 faces. Can you see them?
Yes. White ones?
Yes, and they're arguing.
Oh, okay.
And then down at the bottom, we've got, let's see, there's some flowers. There's a flamingo and a magical blue car. Can you see those?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when I turn it over, whoops. Let's see.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, there are, I see, now it's doing better. Okay. So, let's see. There's a blue dog. He's looking up at the flowers. And there's what I'm calling a professor, that orange figure with a green chapeau and a donkey. And so then I've written a little story and a poem. So the story goes like this. While the grown-ups argued, the blue dog gazed at the flowers. The monocled professor in green chapeau took his leave, and the donkey laughed. The flamingo eyed the flowers and wondered if they were delicious, while the children escaped in a magical blue car. And I thought, that's kind of like my childhood was in an alcoholic home. All this imagination and all of this escaping. And the children are going off in the magical blue car. And then I wrote a poem. Blue dogs and crimson flamingos know what to do in conflict. Ask them. They escape into an imaginal realm. This solves nothing unless they meet the one who knows at the heart of matter and return to tell the tale. And now that I've got the poem, I feel like I'm ready to do something with something more significant is coming. But that's as far as I got.
Very cool.
Well, I'm going to give you an opportunity to do that. We're going to do a doodle before we close, and I'm going to read from Robert. Are you with us still? Robert Sword? Robert, are you with us? I would have Robert read it, but he would tell me to read it anyway, so I will read it. And I also want to tell you that Robert would like to share his book. Am I on screen at all?
Yes, you are.
Okay,
But let me put you on speaker view. Here you go.
okay, that's good because I need to have the camera here anyway.
Yeah. Can you move it to your right so that we can see the whole thing? Yep.
And I think I'm switching camera here.
All right, there you go. That's good.
Okay,
Just hold it still for a moment. Okay. All right, go ahead.
okay. Now I'm going to go on to the other camera. There we go. So Robert has offered, he got caught in the pandemic with the coming out of his book, and he's published several books, and usually there would be a book tour, and there would be a reading at Bookshop Santa Cruz at least, but also at other bookstores around the country, and especially in Canada, where Robert has spent much of his life and is highly valued. So he would like, so he's not had that opportunity to sell his books and get them out there in that last stage of the creative process. So instead, he's offering each one of you a copy free of charge. So if you send me your address, I will send you a copy of his book and the title, which I quoted from this particular poem, All That I Have Not Made.
Is that one of your pieces on the cover there?
Yes, it is. It's a ceramic piece that's probably about 18, 20 inches tall, and it's called The Reader.
Huh. Interesting.
And so what I'm going to do is read his poem that I'd like, and I'm going to play some music, and we're going to do a 5-minute doodle together before we part today. The poem is called Soul Retrieval. He makes this simple thing a soul. But you, of even the invisible you, make a mess. Your soul has left you. Shekinah has left you. Wives, children, all gone. True. You are your home, and your home has left you. And God, you think he wants to be seen with you? So, you want to die. God damn it, you're already missing. I may be dead, but I'm not missing. What will dying tell me? What will dying do for you? What is it breaks when a man breaks down? What is it goes to pieces? The pieces. With a net, I need to find you. First find. Inhale. Make clean. Then breathe back into you. You know what it is, a soul? All the pieces in one place. So you two may have a copy. Just let me know where I should send it. And let's begin.
So Coeleen, could you tell everyone your address so that, well, maybe you don't want to do that while I'm doing a live stream here, because then you'll get 200 people you never heard of.
Yeah.
All right, let me do this. Let me end the live stream if I can. I'm going to stop the live stream, and thank you to all the YouTube followers who have been watching. Well, you can contact me if you think you want Robert's book, but I'm going to terminate the live stream now.